And I request Ms. Amaya Ansari from SS Vijay Bareilly to be ready for the next.
A very good afternoon to all the authorities and respected professors and all my dear friends. My name is Harsh Babu Singh, BTech CS third year from National Institute of Management and Technology. Today I am coming with a topic that is not only interesting but secret in itself, and that is generally referred as dangerous. Yes, I am talking about the dark web. It's the only topic with the horrible stories. Why I say that? Because people experience lot of things that is unacceptable. Nobody knows how many things are hidden in the dark web. So after listening all this, the first thing that comes in mind is what is dark web? Dark web is the part of internet which cannot be accessed by the normal browsers like Chrome, Firefox, Mozilla, etc. To access dark web, you should have a special browser like Tor, I2P, etc. What Tor does, Tor use several layers of encryptions and it travels your activity through several nodes of network to hide your IP address or to manipulate your IP address. And the second most interesting thing is the internet that we are using in our day-to-day life, like Facebook, Google, YouTube, Instagram is the only 4% part of the whole internet. Yes, the rest is deep web and dark web. The 4% part, which is generally referred as surface web, for better understanding of surface web and deep web, let's take an example. Suppose you are surfing Amazon without logging in. So you can only be able to see the listing of their products as a customer. But to be able to look behind the scene, what's happening behind the scene, you should have a proper username and a proper password for that. Once you have those, you can be able to look behind the scenes. You are on the deep web now. And comes to the deepest part of the deep web is the dark web. It's the only 1 to 2% part of the whole internet, and this 2% part is enough to harm the rest 98% of internet. Yes. Why I say that? Because dark web contains lot of things, bundle of things like stolen email addresses, stolen credentials that can harm the rest 90% of internet. Privacy is the most important thing in dark web. If you are browsing dark web, you should take privacy. So for those, the Tor browser, the Tor browser does? Tor browser manipulates your IP address so that if you are like this is the original node you and covered with the guard node and relay node. It ends the exit node if somebody sitting at the end at the another end. If he want to backtrace you, then he can't be able to find the original node due to the network of these nodes. So, moving further, you all have curiosity about what can be found on dark web. The first thing is the hidden Wikipedia. We all hear about the Wikipedia, but here are some people who hear about the hidden Wikipedia. In dark web, if you are looking for something or if you are looking for a website, you should have a proper URL of that website. In that case, hidden Wikipedia helps us. It contains lots of directories which contains direct link to the other websites. The next is black market. Black market. Dark web is known for the home for black markets. Here, all sorts of goods can sold or buy from cheap Netflix accounts to the credit card numbers, weapons and drugs. But not all the activities going on dark web is illegal. There are some things like chat rooms, which generally helps us. Chat rooms often dedicated to the topics which are not safe to discuss in public. Like the IP officers communicates on the chat rooms in the dark web to maintain the privacy and to make sure that information should not be leaked. The another most useful thing is whistleblowing websites. These websites help journalists and the whistleblowers to steal, to leak or find sensitive information. And the second thing is, sorry for the disturbance. So you can also access the dark web, but for that you should have a proper VPN and a suitable browser like Tor. You can access the dark web, but you should uh, sorry sorry for the disturbance. But the first thing that keep in mind is you should not having anything to lose. Why I say that? Let me tell you a story of the burger shop. There was a man who served dark web on the daily basis. One day, after surfing a lot, he was big bored and decided to visit his nearby burger shop. He went to the burger shop, finish his meal, and come back to his home. And guess what he see? He see his system, and the system image is loading in his system. When the image is 50% loaded, he was realized that the image was his only. You can imagine the level of hackers available on the dark web. So, as we discussed, what is dark web, how it works, and there were several of factors, negative factors available on dark web, but there are also some positive factors available on dark web. And as the youth of this nation, we have the responsibility on our head to remove the negative and the illegal part from the dark web and make it clear and clean place for the society and for the upcoming generation. But for that, we should have proper awareness about these things. Thank you for all. This is all about the presentation. Yes, sir, sure.
How do you transact on the dark web?
How I make transactions?
This part is known. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
I find there is blood being traded on dark web.
Yes, sir.
I want to buy that blood.
So the transaction in the dark.
Do I give a normal credit card or something new is there?
No, sir. Sir, there are no transaction in cash or in debit card from the debit card. The transaction in the form of bitcoins and in form of cryptocurrencies. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Harsh.